All right, let's dive right into this explainer, dissecting the unprecedented NEET medical exam crisis and the massive systemic failure behind it. Now, for those who might not be completely caught up, the NEET exam isn't just another standardized test. It is literally the sole gateway for over 2.2 million students in India who are dreaming of becoming doctors. It's an incredibly high-stakes environment where a single day dictates your entire future. But, what happens when the very institution designed to test merit becomes completely compromised? Today, we're going to break down exactly how this nationwide system failed us, step by step.
We're not going to start with sweeping statistics today. Instead, take a look at this chilling WhatsApp message sent to a father in Sikar, which served as the real catalyst that exposed an unthinkable fraud. On May 2nd, an MBBS student studying in Kerala sent this exact message to his dad, who ran a PG hostel in Rajasthan. Attached was a document packed with exam questions. The father, well, he was likely super skeptical at first, but he distributed it to his students the next morning anyway. It actually wasn't until after the real exam, when he had a local coaching teacher verify that document against the actual test paper, that the horrifying truth came out. It was a perfect word-for-word match.
So let's move to Section 1, Tracking the Paper Trail. From the printing press to the students.
This wasn't just some random accident or a lucky guess. It was a highly sophisticated operation. The leak allegedly kicked off at an authorized printing press in Nashik, Maharashtra. And to avoid detection, these guys didn't just snap a quick photo with a smartphone. They used high-definition portable scanners and literally set up a shadow server on the outskirts of Nashik just to hide the data transfer from official monitoring systems. From there, the paper traveled to a doctor in Gurgaon, where it was strategically mixed with outside questions to look like a standard guest paper, before finally moving down to Rajasthan and into the hands of local agents and students.
The truly mind-boggling part here is the staggering financial scale of this black market, with prices ballooning all the way up to a 30 lakh rupee deal in Rajasthan. You can clearly see the massive markup at every single stage of the supply chain. A medical student in Nashik allegedly buys the soft copy for 1 lakh rupees. It moves to Gurgaon and boom, it jumps to 15 lakhs. By the time it hits the Bawal brothers in Rajasthan, the price tag hits 30 lakhs. Then counseling agents in Sikar scoop it up for 5 lakhs, eventually breaking it down to individual students for a few thousand rupees a pop. It operated exactly like a well-oiled corporate supply chain, just profiting off sheer desperation.
That brings us to Section 2, Negligence and Political Links. The wall of institutional denial.
The local authorities' complete dismissal of the early evidence essentially allowed this leaked paper to circulate freely, while the responsible agencies were fast asleep. Remember that father from Sikar we just talked about? Once he realized the leak was legit, he went straight to the local police station. Their response? They literally told him to stop spreading rumors and shoot him away. He then escalated the issue directly to the National Testing Agency, the NTA, which eventually triggered a Special Operations Group investigation. And what the SOG found was just mind-blowing. The paper hadn't just leaked the night before. No, it had been freely circulating among students for an entire month.
When we look impartially at the individuals who allegedly purchased the paper for 30 lakh rupees, specifically the Banwal brothers, investigators uncovered a really deeply entrenched network. One of the brothers, Dinesh Banwal, is actually a documented leader of the ruling party's youth wing. If you look at his social media, it is filled with campaign videos and photographs alongside prominent politicians, which even includes the regional education minister.
And adding to the suspicion, here's a detail that should really make you pause. A staggering 4 children from this exact same accused family somehow managed to clear the NEET exam just last year. Seriously, without transparent oversight and structural reform, how can we possibly trust the integrity of these exams? The documented connections between the printing press, the accused distributors, and the local political networks paint a vivid picture of a system desperately in need of independent audits and strict, encrypted digital protocols to stop unauthorized data sharing in its tracks. Let's dive into Section 3, Data Anomalies and NTA Denial, when the numbers don't lie. So the Director General of the NTA publicly came out and stated that absolutely no paper was leaked, claiming it was merely a circulating PDF where, quote, some questions just happened to align. But let's take a hard look at what some questions actually means in stark mathematical reality.
Finding 135 unbroken, perfectly matched biology and chemistry questions is practically a statistical impossibility without a systemic breach. I mean, think about it. 90 out of 90 biology questions, 45 out of 45 chemistry questions, they matched exactly. Not a single comma or full stop was out of place. This wasn't a lucky guess paper or a coincidence. This was the exact exam duplicated verbatim.
Then, of course, there is the massive grade inflation. We saw 67 students achieving unprecedented, perfect 720 scores, largely due to some really unexplained grace marks. Historically, maybe one or two brilliant students might achieve a perfect score in a given year, but 67? No way. This massive grade inflation rightly triggered nationwide protests, Supreme Court petitions, and demands for CBI inquiries. And yet, the core testing structure remained entirely unchanged from previous years when similar, albeit smaller, issues had already popped up.
Which leads us to Section 4, the heavy toll on students. Millions of futures put on hold.
This number right here represents the 2.2 million students whose intense, hard work, sacrificed sleep, and dedicated preparation were suddenly rendered totally meaningless. Imagine spending an entire year, or even 2 or 3 years, doing literally nothing but studying for this one specific day. You take the exam, you finally breathe a sigh of relief thinking the nightmare is over, and then you turn on the news only to find out the whole thing was compromised by people who just bought their way to the top.
As an advocate for these kids, it is absolutely heartbreaking to witness the severe emotional and financial burnout they are suffering through no fault of their own. Families completely drained their life savings just to pay exorbitant coaching fees. Students sacrificed their mental health, their social lives, everything. Some had even given away their study notes after the exam, only to be told out of nowhere that they were facing a forced retest. The intense psychological strain of navigating a rigged system, followed by the agonizing uncertainty of when or how a fair re-exam will even happen, is a massive cost. And the NTA and the leakers aren't paying it. The students are. So, what do? Section 5, Finding Your Plan B. Diverse paths beyond the high-stakes exam. If you're a student or a parent watching this right now and feeling completely helpless, please remember this. Your entire worth and future are not tied to a single, easily compromised test. To help reduce our dependence on this heavily broken medical exam system, we highly encourage exploring modern, high-growth career paths that do not rely on one single testing day. We live in a modern economy where traditional paths like medicine and engineering are just a tiny fraction of what's out there. Fields like data science, UX design, sports analytics, and climate research offer incredible growth, high salaries, and immensely fulfilling work. By diversifying your career options and building a rock-solid Plan B, you take the power right away from corrupt testing agencies and put it back into your own hands. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder as we demand accountability and structural reform to protect the futures of all our students. Until we see real, systemic changes, like decentralized testing models and actual, severe consequences for those involved at the highest levels, these single point of failure exams will always remain vulnerable. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep questioning the system, keep diversifying your skills, and please never let a flawed process define your true potential.